Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our forum. I'm Betsy Vaughn, and I'm school board member from District 6. In case you don't know, District 6 is the countywide seat for the school board. So even though all of us, and there are a couple of my colleagues here, our chairperson, Ms. Gwen Gittens, and from district, what's your district, Debbie? 3? 4. This one right here, Miss Debbie Jordan. So there's 3 of us here tonight, and all of us represent all of Lee County, but I actually ran in all of Lee County from Alva down to Bonita Springs. Before we get started with several speakers, I just wanted to mention something that's really important. It's the 2020 census. And how many of you are aware that on April 1st, 2020, we're going to be doing our every decade decennial census? How many of you are aware of that? Okay, some of you may be aware. I see that some are not. So why am I mentioning this at a forum? Well, one of the reasons is, and I'll get to that in a moment, it's of extreme importance that in Lee County we have a complete count. And here's why. We do this every 10 years. And whatever the count reflects in 2020, we're locked into that number. Even if it's an extreme undercount, we're locked into that number for a whole decade. This is a constitutional requirement. As a matter of fact, the first census was done in 1790. And for those of you who are worried that the information is not confidential and the government's gonna come look into your affairs or something like that, let me assure you that the information is confidential and it's kept, I don't remember how many years, like 70 something years before it's actually, the details are actually released. And if you're into research genealogy of your family, you probably know that. All right, so here are some reasons why it's so important. The first thing is that it guides a wide variety of critical decisions, including the reapportionment of seats in the U.S. House of Representatives and the realignment of congressional districts. And so our districts are areas of Fort Myers, Lehigh Acres, and other areas that have grown tremendously in the past 10 years. We want to see a complete count because you may just gain another seat for your district, for your area, and the whole realignment may happen, which for minority communities could be very, very important. All right. The numbers are also used as a factor in the formulas that annually distribute hundreds of millions of dollars in federal funds. And again, why is this important, particularly important for the school district? A few of the things that we will be getting money from the federal government on are our Title I funds, National School Lunch Program, the Individuals with Disability Act or IDEA, which the ESE department, that's important, especially important for them. Our Head Start and Early Head Start programs are federally funded programs. The Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or commonly known as SNAP. Some of these are technically outside of the school district, but we want to be sure that when our children come to school, that they have been able to have nutritional food at home. The Safe Children's Health Insurance Program. insurance for our children. And so, to wind this up, just to give you an idea of how much money was left on the table for Florida and Lee County 10 years ago. In 2010, Lee County had a 72% participation rate. More than a quarter of our population was not counted. That was slightly below the state average, which was only 74%. In Fort Myers, only 66% of the population was counted. Florida lost $946 for every Floridian that wasn't counted. And over the 10-year period, that equals $178 million. And so we have some flyers for all of you to take home. It's not until April 1st, but we have a complete count committee here in Lee County. Some of you in, I know some of the sororities, fraternities, faith community, nonprofits have all partnered. Lee Health, Healthy Lee, all of them, because we all have a stake in this. Let's not leave money on the table. So, that said, let's move on with our program. The first person I'd like to call forward is Ms. Margaret Tolbert, and she is the Dunbar Community School SAC Chair. So, Ms. Tolbert.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Excuse my absence. Dr. Simone Mitchell is currently attending the 2019 Adult Education Conference for a professional development opportunity, but asks that I speak on her behalf. She would like to thank Superintendent Dr. Atkins and school board member Ms. Vaughn for hosting the community forum tonight at Dunbar Community School and apologizes for her absence. My name is Margaret Tolbert, School Advisory Board Chair, as well as alumnus of the school. Again, I want to welcome you all to the Dunbar Community School. On behalf of the principal, faculty, and staff, we would like to welcome you to Dunbar Community School. And at this time, I would like to introduce to you Mr. Andrew Hill, who is our GED instructor of 7 years, to speak on the vision of the school. Again, Mr. Hill.
Thank you very much. Good evening and welcome to Dunbar Community School. As a member of the Dunbar community staff, I would like you to know our school's vision and mission. Over the last 5 years, our adult ed program has served over 5,000 students from 50 different countries on 4 continents. Our students have literally crossed oceans, rivers, and mountains to get here. Our mission could be called the Open Doors Program because that's what we try to do for all our students. When immigrants first step into America, they feel the strangeness, fear, and isolation of living in an unknown place. The first and greatest barrier to overcome is language. And that's what you see in our ESOL classes that are jammed with students. Learning English is the beginning of the long journey to opening the door to fully participating in the great experiment in democracy known as America. Parents speaking English in the home, helping their children adapt and adopt their new culture, parents starting the road to citizenship, and parents getting a job to support their families, all begin with conquering the English language, one of our school's most important goals. Today, many young people fall into the cracks and crevices of our country's educational, social, and legal system. Homelessness, drug use, teen pregnancy, juvenile delinquency, and broken families are just some of the reasons preventing our children from getting their high school diploma. Our GED program is full of students of all ages, each of whom has a unique story, some heartbreaking, that closed the door to a better future. Many at a young age never realized how important that diploma would someday become. They didn't understand that having the diploma killed their dream of becoming a fireman, a nurse, an engineer, or even a doctor, or that it could cost them hundreds of thousands of dollars in future earnings. Let me tell you just a few of the stories of our students. A young mother who wants her children to understand how important education is and not repeat her mistake of dropping out. She wants to be a role model. A grandmother growing up in hard times who left school in the 6th grade wants to be able to help her grandchildren with their homework. An immigrant farm worker's child who every spring had to move north with his family and drop out. This brilliant farm worker student was the first student in 35 years in Lee County to score 2 perfect GED scores. Finally, a 57-year-old hard-working facility worker coming every night for the last 2.5 years to learn enough algebra to pass a GED test so he could get his state certification that would mean $10,000 more per year in his pocket. Our school has become a true community center, connecting with the important issues especially relevant to the Fort Myers-Lee County areas. Local police leaders, community activists, important religious leaders, business leaders, and public officials have attended many of the meetings at our school. Presentations on health, drugs, jobs, and violence are just some of the events hosted by Dunbar Community School. We also didn't forget about our young people, creating a summer youth program focused on a future life filled with opportunity. Most importantly, above all else, we stayed connected to our community. To all our distinguished guests here, you are sitting in this historical symbol of legalized segregation and exclusion. You are in the beating heart of the Dunbar community, home to so many left behind. Our school's mission is not only to help those on the outside open their closed doors, but to do everything in our power to overcome the institutionalized barriers stopping them from living the American dream. Thank you for being here tonight, and that's it.
Our next speaker is Dr. Shirlee Chapman, and she is representing NAACP Education Committee. Dr. Chapman.
No break to the needy, sweet charity's bread. For giving is living, the angel said. And must I be given again and again? My poor and pitiless answer ran. Oh no, said the angel piercing me through. Just give until the master stops giving to you. Good evening. Good evening. And that's what we're doing as NAACP. We're trying to give all we can and help all we can to make a difference. First of all, just being in this room brings back all kinds of memories. Because I'm a graduate of Dunbar High School. Of course, when I graduated, we graduated off of Edison Avenue, and this became the middle school. But I just want you to know, as I've always told my students, anything worth doing is worth doing well. Even if it means just speaking. It can be just a small something, but if you're going to do it the very best that you can. And so what we're trying to do is ensure that our children get the best education they can possibly get. And I know, I hear a lot of teachers saying, yeah, but you know, we need the parents to do this and the parents to do that. But I had a saying as I was in the classroom, and especially when I got in charge of the school, and that is that it's not what children bring with them that causes the problem. It's what they meet once they're at school. So if you get the right group together, regardless of how they come in the door, we'll be able to make a difference. And I'm expecting some great things. I think that we have some people in place that want to make a difference. And we're going to be here to assist and help in any way that we can. And if you have any concerns, any questions, I know some people are kind of timid and shy and don't want to get up and say certain things. Write it down. Pass it along to somebody else and have them ask the question. Because we want every question answered, and we want to do all we can to make sure that our children have the very best education possible. And thank you so much for being here. I'm just only sad that the place is not running over, but we'll deal with that later.
Okay, our next speaker is our Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Gregory Atkins. Dr. Atkins.
Thank you for being here. I'll be very brief because I know we want to get to the main part of the agenda, but we are here for you. This is something that we've worked with in partnership with the NAACP to make sure that we come out to the community to hear firsthand really what your questions are and concerns. So we have a lot of staff that will be around this evening and we'll be working to get you off into groups to hopefully be able to answer those questions that you might have in a way that provides you with information that you need and provided to you by the people who are truly experts in these particular areas. So I would certainly encourage you to take advantage of this evening, take advantage of the fact that we have some amazing talent in the room with a lot of expertise up in their head, but they are happy to be here to serve you and to give you that information that you need. And also, just having stated that, the rest of us, some of us aren't running necessarily different stations, but we're also around here to answer your questions as well. So I encourage you just to make the most of your evening. And thank you so much for taking the time, because I know the hour is rather late. You know, we could be home eating dinner and spending time with our families, but you're here because you know that our children are important to you, they're important to us, and we want to be able to help you and have you help us support that mission of making sure that each one of them can certainly meet his or her highest potential. So thank you for being here this evening.
And now, Ms. Rita Davis, and she is the Director of Adult and Career Education, and she will be speaking about that topic, adult and career education. Ms. Davis.
I like to walk around, so I'm going to get mobile. Good evening. Thank you so much. To echo what Dr. Atkins said, thank you so much for being here. This is an old picture, and I apologize that it's grainy. It's actually a Polaroid that I pulled out of my photo album. I did a career day presentation at Tropic Isles about 2 weeks ago, and I was telling them it may be hard to see me. I'm the girl with the scrunchie, which they are back in style, just so you know. This is 1993, and I was a sophomore at Mariner High School. I'm born and raised in Lee County, graduated from Mariner High School, so very proud Lee County resident. And it was shadow day, and you got to go to a job that you wanted to shadow, and you had to report back on it. And I wanted to be a teacher. And this is actually a playground that's no longer there at Tropic Isles Elementary. There's now a building, because our community has grown a little bit. But I wanted to tell the students in that process, I'm actually going to tell you about my two departments that I serve. I wanted to share with them that that was my dream in 10th grade. I briefly was a teacher at Dunbar High School for a few years. Thank you to Mr. Carl Burnside for allowing me to have that opportunity. But I've had many other careers as well. And so I was trying to encourage them that they're not going to know what they want to do as soon as they graduate high school, and that's perfectly okay. And I told them that my first job was a web designer, and that job wasn't even around when I was sitting there on that playground with those students. And so that's part of our mission, is we're preparing our students partly for jobs that don't even exist. The internet wasn't even around. So a little bit about the two departments I serve, adult and career education. On the career and tech ed side, it's grades 6 through 12. We do have 2 technical colleges in Lee County and a public service academy, but I serve the students in grades 6 through 12. We have over 30 career and tech ed programs in our 14 high schools, and also we have our middle schools got left out of there, but we have them also in 20 middle schools. So we have 34,000 course enrollments. That's a lot of students taking advantage of career and tech ed. And the main mission of it is just to introduce students to workforce skills, career exploration, getting them ready. We all know that the end goal is to be gainfully employed. Whether we do that straight out of high school or we go the post-secondary route, we're still inevitably want to be gainfully employed. So some of our programs at our high schools allow students to enter the workforce directly upon graduation. We have certified nursing assistant, we have welding programs, we have automotive programs, and we also have digital design programs. So we're very proud of that enrollment and the experience that our students get. This is what we call the Mind Melt Matrix, and it is a little bit hard to see. This is from 1819. We will have our 1920 brochure out soon, and we'll make sure that we have some here at Dunbar Community School. But it basically, we use this as a marketing tool to show our parents and our students which career and tech ed programs are available to them throughout the district. And we try to make major programs that are very either expensive to implement or maintain. We try to have at least one in each zone so that it is accessible for all of our students. We have 3 ways. We have businesses and folks always saying, how do I get involved? I want to share my knowledge. And we say, that's awesome. So we have 3 tiers of engagement on the career and tech ed side. We say, come in and do a classroom presentation, just like I presented to the 5th graders at Tropicals Elementary. Tell the students what you do, because if they don't know, then they don't know. So we like to expose them to career opportunities. Maybe you want to bring them a problem. Even if some of the careers that they're going to have don't yet exist, we want them to develop critical thinking skills so that they can be flexible and they can have a multitude of careers throughout their lifetime. So bring them a problem. That's at the heart of career and tech ed, is problem-based learning. And they can solve that problem with you as part of your business. So that's a really good opportunity. And then the 3rd level is, hey, I've got some dollars that I really want to invest in our students, and I want to start an internship program. And we're actually working with an FGCU graduate for an internship application. And the first phase we hope will be out by the end of this school year so that we can more quickly connect our high school students with career opportunities, internship opportunities. So we're very excited about that. This matrix that I have up for you now just shows what this does. It just extends the learning. So we have everything from Build My Future Lee County, STEM-tastic Day of Discovery, Taco Cook-Off, Digital Lee. We could not do these on our own. These are in partnership with local businesses, community members, and we're so grateful. But it allows the students to go beyond what they're learning in the classroom. This is something we're extremely proud of. I was at the Lee County Board of County Commissioners meeting this morning, and they proclaimed October as Construction Careers Month. And so I was there with Lee BIA to kick off this video, and I think, Jared, if we can get it working. And while that's possibly loading, basically what we did is, for the first time last year, we did Build My Future Lee County. It was a constructions trade expo, middle and high school students. Over 500 students came out to the Lee Civic Center, and we had business members from that industry as an expo. So students could interact with the businesses and learn about all the opportunities available to them. The next time we're going to have that is October 23rd. Community members, business members, you're welcome to come out and see what it's all about, but it's really, really awesome, and I see that it's loading, so. Okay, we'll give it 5 seconds.
Today we showcase our industry to encourage and educate you on building trades as a career path.
It's important that we have a program like Build My Future Lee County to introduce to young adults opportunities in the construction industry. Every trade that I know of is lacking qualified workers.
We have over 500 students from our middle and high schools and adult education here to attend to learn about the building industry and also about job opportunities. We're taking what students are learning in the classroom and actually applying it to the workforce so they can interact with the vendors and the exhibits and see where their education could take them into the workforce.
Our students have very different needs. Some take the college path, some take the career technical path, and so I think it is important to have more events like this for our students so that they know their options that are out there.
You can get a 4-year degree. There's opportunities there, 4- or 6-year degree, advanced degree opportunities. Or you can go right out of high school and go straight into construction, become an apprentice, work your way up. This is a very secure industry.
I saw folks who install garages. I saw kids building walls. Our Argos, we poured concrete. We gave examples of how we make cement, and then just a host of other things. There's so much to learn and so much to see.
I was surprised at how eager they were to actually grab the mud pan and knife, and I showed them how to spot some screws, and we showed them how to run some tape, and then actually how to put a few screws in. That was pretty exciting for me.
This event gives my students an opportunity to try things that I don't have the resources or the tools at my school to be able to demonstrate for them. We do construction technology, but I don't have the things to be able to do masonry or air conditioning or welding. So they get a really hands-on feel for some of the different trades and the tools that they use. This has given me an opportunity to show my students that there's a life out there that's meaningful and that there's gainful employment, and you can go out and do things and work with your hands.
The school district, they have a pretty big job. There simply aren't enough trades workers going from high school to the trades anymore. Those that don't go to college, they're not necessarily aware of the great jobs that can be had working in the trades, in construction.
It's different because when you have hands-on, you can physically and mentally learn what you're doing and understand it.
I definitely changed my mind on concrete, like doing concrete work like that, seeing the equipment that they have and the tools that they use. It's definitely something that I would look into now.
We are so grateful to Lee BIA and their members and partners for allowing our students to come out and experience this. I think we're going to get a lot of positive feedback, and I think we're impacting some lives today.
Thank you. And a huge shout out to the Lee BIA. They pay for the buses to transport the students. We have middle and high schoolers coming out. They pay for a nice box lunch. And the next phase of that development is how do we connect those students to actual workforce
Grammarly
opportunities.
does more than catch errors. With Grammarly, you can find.
So I just want to conclude on this slide, which is adult education. Last but most definitely not least, Mr. Hill did an amazing job of really kind of giving you a visual of the folks we serve. They are a part of our community, and their future depends on how well we serve them. My other department is adult education, and our motto is professionalism with compassion. So we work very hard to make sure we have 8 locations throughout Lee County. They are school district buildings. They operate mostly at night, but we do have some locations such as Dunbar Community that are during the day. But our online program is the second to third largest in the state. And we have other districts that come to us because we know how mobile our population is, and folks have 1, 2, 3 jobs. We still want them to have the opportunity to get their GED or to learn English as a second language. This is just one of our many graduates. If you want to feel so amazing about the work that's done, come to our graduation. It's every year during graduation season with the high schools, but this is just one. And what we do is we bring each of the students in so they get their cap and gown picture, and then we have a formal ceremony. And in the 4.5 years that I've been here, in this particular role, I've seen folks as young as 16 and then folks who are way into their golden years that are so excited to walk the stage. Right now we have over 2,000 students enrolled in adult education, and we also have a community education program, everything from painting with your family to barbecue pit master. So those are just some fun enrichment courses that we encourage you to take advantage of. And I will conclude by saying one of our GED students went through the program, graduated, and now is a full-time team member in my adult education department. And she carries that professionalism with compassion in every interaction. It's so wonderful to hear her listen to her talk to the students. So we are very, very proud of her. So thank you very much for allowing me to speak on adult and career ed. I'm going to be in the green zone in the back, so I'll ask that you just hold your questions until then, and then you can ask me at that time. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Crystal Torres Nunez. I am the Diversity Inclusion Coach for the Lee County School District. I have the honor of overseeing the rotations tonight along with my director, Mr. Jared Eady. So tonight, based on the color of your agenda that you have in your hand, you are going to rotate throughout the different sections clockwise, okay? So our first group is here, is the MTSS graduation. So if you have a yellow agenda, you're going to start here. That's the orange. So a yellow agenda, you're going to start here. Over here we have ESC, Mental Health Services. If you have a blue agenda, you're going to start there. We did put the colors that starts at that location underneath it, okay? Adult Career and Technical Education is in the back. You're going to start there if you have a green agenda. If you have a pink or salmon colored agenda, you're going to do positive prevention and discipline. And if you have an orange agenda, you're starting at student enrollment. Give me one moment. They're going to introduce themselves at their actual locations and give you a little bit of an overview of their programs that they provide. And you're also going to be given the opportunity to ask questions. If you are not comfortable at that time asking questions, you have been given a community forum question card. So you can circle the area that it pertains to and write your question there. And at the end, we will do an affinity map. And we will kind of cluster all the questions that are similar together, and then we will answer them as a group. So let me introduce, so that you're familiar with the faces. Over here for MTSS and graduation, we have Tammy Scott as our coordinator for MTSS, and Shirlee Taylor as our coordinator for graduation. For ESC, we actually have a pretty nice sized group over here for ESC. We have Jessica Duncan as our director. Our assistant director is Teresa Bowen. And then Deidre Phillips is one of our coordinators. Then we also have Lori Brooks, who's the director of Mental Health Services. You met Ms. Rita Davis. Where did she go? She's over here. She's going to be doing the adult education piece in the back. Positive prevention and discipline is Mr. Chuck Bradley, who's our director for this program. And up front for student enrollment, we have Mr. Retta Ralph, who's our executive director of student enrollment. So we are going to set a timer for you. You will have a 10-minute opportunity at each location to ask any relevant questions and listen to any information that may be provided. Okay? So whenever ready, you may go to your first location. Does Lee County provide students who receive a certificate of completion with a summary of how they can receive a full diploma, enroll in GED, pass a certain test, ACT, SAT, FCAT, etc.?
Is this mic on? All right. First, I want to know if I get a prize for having the only question. So one of the things, absolutely yes. The answer is yes. The role for academic advising does come through the school counselor, and they do provide that academic counseling. One thing that we have done through the Student Services Department Academic Services is we have provided a handout for, it says diploma or certificate, what can I do now? We do have this translated in Spanish and Creole, so I can make sure that this is available for you. But when a student receives a standard diploma, the choice is really theirs. It's post-school or post-secondary school, entering the workforce, going in the military. So that's just an example. This flyer does go on to talk about if it's a student that does get their certificate of completion, which if you were part of our group tonight, you understand that that is a non-grad in our graduation calculation. But it goes on to explain the diploma was not earned, but what can I do now? And then there's another section here at the bottom for those students who might not be PERT eligible. And it goes into some pretty lengthy discussion, but that is done with our school counselors through academic advising. I hope I answered that well, clearly. Okay, I will leave this up on the stage, and if whoever asked that wants to take it, you are more than welcome to have it.
So back in the back, we have just a few comments that Ms. Margaret would like addressed. Need for more specialized sites for disabled people. Need for before and after care. For behavior students, need for more counseling in every school. Non-graduate students, the specialist or the counselor should make students aware of their credits before graduation. So those kind of fall into various areas. I think, Shirlee, you just hit on a few of those things in regards to graduation and the credit piece. Need for counseling in every school. I don't know if Lori wants to touch on that one.
I'd be happy to. Currently, in all of our schools, we have school counselors. We are working diligently to decrease ratios by hiring additional school counselors and other school-based mental health professionals so that we can increase our time spent on direct services to students. So that will be a multi-year process. We started this year with, and it's always been part of what we're doing as a district. However, under Senate Bill 7026 and now 7030, the Marjorie Stoneman High School Public Safety Act, we are called to consistently add counselors and other mental health professionals. So we did start. There is a shortage across the state and now country of many of these professions, but we are actively recruiting. And if you know anyone who would be an excellent school counselor, FGCU has a phenomenal master's program, and we highly encourage them to engage in that program, and we happily host our interns because we then hire them. So, but we are working on adding more. It's a great suggestion.
Just a couple quick things I think might hit on a couple of the other points that were raised. One is talking about facilities and ESE facilities in particular. One of the things that the board has as part of its platform has to do with construction and giving us some additional flexibility in how we construct schools. And our ESE classrooms are just one of the areas that we are asking for some additional flexibility. Lee County has a rapidly growing ESE population, so we're finding that the need is out there is greater than what we might find in our school construction code. So we're able to get that as a part of our legislative platform and something that we can get an active bill hopefully this session. We will probably be coming back and asking for your all's support in terms of trying to get our legislators to support that so we can provide the facilities that we need for our students. Before and after school programs were mentioned. This is also part of our strategic plan to increase the amount of before and after school programs. So we definitely want to do that, and we're working with our business partners and also some of our community partners to make that happen. And then, of course, a hats off to Jared Eady and Crystal Torres Nunez, who are also a part of the SOS program, which provides that same type of care, but during the summer months, which is also where you see some of that summer slide academically. So if we can provide better before and after school programs and also improve what we can offer in the summer school, I think we can close achievement gaps and just enrich our kids' education over and above what it currently is. And with that, if there are any questions that you have a burning desire, didn't want to ask it here, you can email the district. You can actually, I'll just give you my email and it will get to the right spot. I'm gregad@leeschools.net. And so if you have any other questions, if you mention in the email though that you were at this forum, that would be helpful. So if you mentioned that you were at the forum, you had another follow-up question, you can send it to me and I'll make sure it gets to the right person. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to Ms. Vaughn for a close.
Our next forum is on November 6th at the Needham Middle School. So if you want to attend that or have friends that live in the southern part of the county, pass the word. And thank you so much for coming this evening. Have a great rest of the evening. Good night.